If you actively ride a snowmobile, a dirt bike, side-by-side, or downhill mountain bike as a free rider, in the backcountry, or competitively, or any action sport for that matter that requires a helmet and a metaphorical set of balls, then these videos are built to help you land more sponsorships and develop a career around your passion so you can get out and ride more. Let's get it. So we have a topic today, and it's around content. We're going to be talking about content. We're going to talk about what it is. We're going to talk about different types of content and what they can be used for. We're even going to be talking about how much you should be producing in content if your goal is to build an audience through social media, so you can leverage that to land sponsorships, get paid, and turn your passion of riding into a career. When it comes to growing your social media channels, which for those of you that have been paying attention to the live trainings, those of you that have got your hands on the Action Sports Guide, those of you that have understood really the big premise behind this group on how we can leverage tools like social media and self-serve advertising platforms to help us get sponsorships, because when we understand that it's all about eyeballs on offers, right? It's all about attention. That's why companies are looking to sponsor. It provides a return on investment for them, because if they can get their stuff in front of the right eyeballs, that's what matters. So what we can do with using self-serve platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all these other things, is we can build audiences. And what we can do is these audiences that we're building on these channels, these are actually assets, very, very valuable assets. Now, it's a new world, right? Digital world. All this whole idea of creating assets. Like when I heard about assets, that was like owning a home, or, things that didn't depreciate in value, investments, property. Those are kind of the first kind of things you think of when you think about assets, right? Snowmobiles, even though they're super depreciating assets, as soon as you drive it off the lot, you lose 20%. But it's still an asset, right? Creating these audiences on different social channels is one of the most valuable assets that you could be creating right now as an athlete inside of action sports. Whether you're a pro, amateur, whatever, the most valuable thing you can be doing is creating these assets. The reality is that this Facebook group that we've been building together is a powerful asset for the Action Sports Club. It has an audience that's building, right? The Instagram accounts that have followers, those are assets. Those have a value to them, right? Especially if we focus on building an asset with a specific intention, it increases the value per follower or value per audience size. Because some people, you see these people on social channels, they have millions of followers. And yeah, that's an asset and a half, right? It's a lot of eyeballs that they can get in front of and that they have influence over, because these people follow them usually because they like, know, and trust them in some way, shape, or form, right? Or in some capacity. That allows that individual to have a form of influence as well, to be like, hey, this is something I really recommend, or this is a product, or this is a service that I like, or this is something that I don't like. Hey, if you've made it this far, I'm going to take a shot in the dark and guess you've got a bit of value so far. If so, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss a future video. We understand now, right? Whether you've purchased the guide and you've read that, you've been paying attention inside of the group, you're understanding that building an audience is what's important, right? That's the value here. What do we do to help build those audiences? Well, we produce content. We have something that the followers, the subscribers, the people that like the page, they can consume. If it's something that they are in alignment with, it's something that they want to learn, it's something that they like, it's something they're attracted to, they will follow you, continue to follow with you, and continue to engage, right? If it's valuable to them in some way, shape, or form. The importance of content when it comes to these channels is it helps grow your audience and it helps sustain your audience. When it comes to building an audience, we can just build an audience in many different ways. Like, I'm sure you guys know people that are influential, that are just maybe are comedians or have humor or are extremely attractive, right? That's a big thing in Hollywood. If they're super sexy or super sexualized and attractive, male or female, that can tend to build an influence in an audience. I mean, sometimes I'm sure they have to deal with some weird followers and weird people, just like you see in the media, but That's one example. Usually with those, it's not a very niche audience, right? It's very broad, and people are just attracted to you because of your looks or because of a certain thing that you do. There's other things. If you're funny, if you're humorous, that can be attractive to people, right? Attract people. And it'll usually bring somebody with a certain sense of humor. If you usually crack jokes about a certain type of thing, you can usually start to define what that audience is as you get in front of them. If you are really talented at something, a talented musician, a talented athlete, a talented whatever, right? Entertainer. Those are different types of content that you can create. Things that people find valuable in some way, shape, or form. So the importance of creating this content is to grow an audience or cultivate one, right? And sustain an audience and build relationships with your audience. Those are some of the most valuable things you can do. So when you become personal with people sometimes, and there's a certain line to that, that can be a valuable type of content that you can bring in, with your Instagram stories and stuff like that. That's the importance of content. If you're wanting to go in that direction of building an audience of people, which in turn you can leverage in a way to help either launch a new business idea, advertise for a sponsoring company, use your audience to find mini sponsors to create posts on your accounts or giveaways to your accounts so you can do a win-win exchange where you can make some money or get some free stuff in return for a shout out or a post. I've seen people, and we've done this personally as well when we were traveling a lot, where we've used our social accounts to get free or cheap hotels, free or cheap transportation when we're abroad, being like, yeah, hey, check out our audience. This is how many people we have. This is the type of people. We'll post X amount of posts for you. You hook us up with a good deal. Building an audience is such a powerful asset when you start to think outside of the box and how you can leverage and use that audience. Different types of content we can create. So if it's on Facebook, there's live content, usually one of the best types of content for Facebook. If you think of Facebook, think of it as an off-world example. It's like community hall. It's like that place where people can gather, people can share thoughts, share ideas, people can learn from each other. People can collaborate in a certain way, ask questions, work together in a certain capacity. That's Facebook. So when you create content based around that, that's what's going to work best for this type of platform. If there's Instagram, what type of content would you create on that? Well, I'm sure you guys have figured out Instagram is the highlight reel. Instagram, if you imagine Instagram in an offline setting, it's like the podium. It's like you showing off, putting yourself on that pedestal in a way so people can see that highlight reel and pay attention to what's going on, the best shot of the day, the best clip, the coolest thing that's been done. That's Instagram. When it comes to YouTube, it's usually longer form content where you're focusing on reviews, you're focusing on how-tos, you're focusing on search engine based stuff. You're looking for trends. You're looking for things that people are commonly searching for and trying to learn about, right? What do you use YouTube for? You usually go on YouTube to go, how do I do this? Or how to do that? Or what do I do when? Or which is better? Think about that. That's the type of content you usually want to be creating for channels like YouTube. Those are kind of like when you get into different types of content. It's making sure that the content you're creating is valuable to the platform you're using it for, and that way you can get the best traction with it. When you do keyword research, that's what helps you with YouTube reach, organic reach with YouTube. So figuring out long form and short form keywords. If you aren't sure what that is, use Google, use YouTube, ask YouTube. It's one of the most powerful things I do all the time. You know what's something that's funny? I'm going to be a little bit transparent with you guys right now. There's been times where I've been working with educating students at a high capacity, at a high level, and they'll ask me a question and I'll be like, I don't quite know that. I'll hit YouTube and Google, I'll find the answer and I can relay that back. You can find anything and everything you could ever imagine just by learning how to search really well. When you go into hashtags, like how do I know which hashtags are going to work best for my Instagram account, or how I'm going to reach the most people organic? When you look at hashtags, it's no different than keyword research. Okay, it's no different than what you would do with YouTube. It's no different than what you would do with websites, meta tags, they call them, tagging a web page so it pops up in a Google search. So it's the same type of thing. The most important thing when it comes to hashtags is making sure the hashtags you're using are relevant to the content you're posting. So if you post something and it's snowy and it's wintertime and you're posting hashtags that have the word summer in it, right? Unless it's like never summer, right? Or you're not in alignment with the post, it's not going to work as good. So usually it's keeping your hashtags in alignment with the content you're producing and doing hashtag research. Search different hashtags, figure out how on average, how many do these hashtags get for engagement, how many likes, how many views, and then compare that to your account. And if it's way higher than what your account gets, you're probably not going to rank on those hashtags, right? So those hashtags aren't going to provide value to your account. So it's finding hashtags that are in alignment with your account. How much engagement do you get on your account? Find hashtags that get about the same engagement than what your account does. So if you get on average 100 likes to a post, you want to find hashtags that are relevant to your post and that get around 100 likes or so. Those are the ones that are going to get you more organic exposure and reach more people. There's some really hacky ways to figure out which hashtags are actually giving you the most reach. Most of the stuff you got to pay for services like that, but there's some hacky ways where you can turn a post into an ad and then see which hashtag got the most reach. You get one chance to see it. It's a very hacky way. I don't even know if it works anymore, but it's really hard to know exactly which hashtag is getting you all the reach. How much should you be producing in content? As much content as possible, knowing that you can keep it consistent. Say, for example, you had a 30-day span. How many times can you post per day or per week and keep that consistent as long as possible? This is the answer. Post as much as you can without losing quality, right? Without just throwing shit on the wall, right? And just taking a random picture and posting it without any quality behind it, or creating a quick video, not editing and just posting it. Post as much as you can without losing quality, and by knowing you can stay consistent. One post a day for a week is 7 times better than 7 posts in a single day. So that's the answer. Staying consistent, not dropping your quality, and doing as much as you can. Okay, that's really the answer. And it comes to that with all platforms. So usually what you'll see is you'll see people that create these kind of schedules in place. And the power of creating a bit of a schedule is your audience can start getting used to that schedule as well. So they know when they're going to see the next post. It starts to become habitual, right? And they start to see it consistent. One of my goals with doing lives on Mondays at 7 p.m. is to make it consistent for you guys, to create a bit of a habit with it. So you guys can, oh, it's Monday. Oh yeah, Aaron's going live on Action Sports Club. I got to make sure that I'm there for that, right? And if it stays on that same date and time and we can keep it consistent like that, then eventually we get more and more engagement. I mean, our engagement's going to grow as the audience builds. People will start to pay attention more because we're like, oh, it's Monday. So that's the answer. As much as you can without losing quality of your posts and being able to stay consistent. So when it comes to Instagram, recently, these are some little hacks that not very many people know about. Start doing hashtag research for your hashtags, right? You can post, I believe, up to 32 hashtags per post. You don't have to use all of them. Taking advantage of that will help build your audience faster if you're not putting any paid advertising behind your stuff. Personally, for me, if you guys go look at my personal Instagram, I post on it like once a month, but I run paid ads. I put money behind my stuff and I focus my time and attention on the advertisements, which all organically bring and build my audience that way as well. But if you don't have the budget, you need to be staying and posting and creating content and allowing people to have stuff to consume with you, to consume of you, right? Or your brand. So some little hacks with Instagram is the hashtag research. Do hashtag research, search the hashtags, see what kind of velocity, we call it, how much engagement those hashtags are getting, and match them up with your page. And you can also create this thing called a staircase method as well, where you can create your hashtags in a way where you know they're easy to rank, likely to rank, hard to rank, and Hail Mary hashtags, so it can help blow up your account. I've done that before where I created a post and it ended up getting 500,000 views because I leveraged a lot of those strategies. One of the things right now with all platforms, if you're trying to figure out what's the best type of content produced on each platform, like Should I be doing reels, videos, IGTV, static posts, story posts? What should I be doing? Always think about what is the newest feature that the platform has come out with and double down on that. For example, Instagram, hint, hint, Reels is the newest feature. So if you want to be growing your engagement, growing your audience, growing your reach, be cranking out Reels. A little pro tip for you guys, growing an audience on Instagram. You can also pre-schedule content as well, right? You can schedule it out. So you could take a day, create all your content for the week. You wouldn't even take you a day. It'd take you a couple hours. You can have it all placed in there. If we think about this, if I have an Instagram account that gets 50 likes, on average 200 views on a video, and I'm using hashtags that are relevant to my post, there's a slight chance. It's like playing slots, playing the lottery. There's a slight chance that I might hit one of those hashtags and get some reach, right? Go viral. You can use strategy to go viral. You can actually engineer it in a way, right? If you're going in with an intention. So figuring out what are the hashtags that would benefit your account the most because they're at that same amount of level. They're getting the same views. They're getting the same engagement. Those are the ones you're most likely to rank on, which is going to get you more organic exposure. People that are following those hashtags. Listen, my mission is to grow stoke and exposure to the action sports industry by empowering one rider at a time, because I believe that our industry deserves more exposure. If you agree, I invite you to join the Action Sports Club, where we help riders like you land sponsorships and turn your passion of riding into a career without having to be a pro athlete. You can learn more in the description below this video. Also, subscribe and watch some more.